2019 at 5:30. The mission of the Wilton Community School District is to provide an education that encourages continual progress through the improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Call to order, please, Joy.
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Tony Hurd.
Not here.
Gary Mauer.
Here.
Rob Metzger. And Gary White.
Here. All right, thank you. Any additions, corrections, or changes, Mr. Burnett, to the agenda?
None, only no, there's no individual action items, so 9 is on there as a continuance, but nothing.
Perfect.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll do the minutes approval, June 12th regular meeting first, please.
Move to approve the June 12th regular board meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second, the June 26th special meeting.
Gary, you need to make the motion.
What, and then can you just start on here?
Go ahead, make the motion, I'll second it, just like the meeting.
I move to approve the June 26th special board meeting minutes. That's right.
Second.
Yeah, keep it the same.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, lastly, the June 26th work session.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the work session.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, no public forum, business financial functions. Stacy, please.
Okay, upload number 5, the taxation funds ending June 30th and our fiscal year. So remember, this is on a cash basis. So when we actually report to the state on the certified annual report, we have to do everything on an accrual basis. And so all of our receivables and payables as of July 1st will be reflected on the report to the state, but this is where we are on a cash basis. So actually, our revenues were a little bit higher than expected, and our expenditures were a little bit lower than expected. So you know what that means in the general fund. Our unspent balance is going to go up a lot. And it probably will stay relatively, the same. The accrual basis isn't going to change that drastically. So I don't really have anything huge to point out on any of these. Anybody have any questions? You can see in Fund 33, which Joe and I have been talking about today, we spent our balance down in Fund 33. That was largely due to the boiler project and then several other things that we did in the year. And Fund 34, the balance remaining there is, that is not at Bankers Trust, is the 76 plus thousand that we have left for the multi-purpose building from Townsend's, and then there's a little over $4,000 left for the observatory from those donations that are carried forward into the next year. That's what that 80,066 is left there. And then we carried over a larger balance in Pebble so we can pay tonight's bills, because we're writing the check for the bus tonight. So Ryan will be picking up the bus here in the next month. And you can see down in the debt service, at the very bottom, Bankers Trust Sinking Escrow Fund for the GO bond surplus. So in June, they took our second additional $200,000 that they'll pay off the GO bonds and they become callable, which I think is 21, 22, 21. But, so that money is sitting in Bankers Trust waiting until those become callable. But other than that, unless anyone has any questions, I do not have anything else to point out on the taxation funds on a cash basis for the year. Next report is instructional support levy for fiscal year 19. So at the top with our revenues, see that our income surtax was a little bit higher than expected, which is a good thing. Our property taxes were a little bit higher, and, for that, so, and then, as usual, we have way enough expenditures to spend all that money, so you can see how it was budgeted. Our expenditures today at the bottom of the first page, and then, netted out, we had 0 remaining. We spent everything in our ISP, and some of the areas went over and some of them were under. So, that's the final cash basis report for that. Any questions? Next report is number 7 for self-insurance. So now, the money from the general fund for the medical services was put in at the end of the year. So we actually made money on the medical deductible buy down again for our fiscal year 19. So if you look at the receipts at the top where it said medical services provided general fund, in cash basis, it was almost 61.6 that we put in, and medical insurance deductibles that were paid were 52.4 almost. So that balance went up. We actually, if you look, compare the dental money in and the dental money out, that had been in a negative situation for a couple years, and when I looked at it, it looked like we were doing better, so we didn't raise the rates again this year, and actually we made money on dental in fiscal year 19 as well. Vision is the only one that we spent into our carryover, but we are attempting to do that because that balance had been way above $100,000. Our premiums are $9 for a single and $27 for a family, and we still have, look at the breakdown at the bottom, we still have $94,000 sitting in that account, and we increased our benefits like 3 years ago, I think, to try to spend that down. We have not raised rates in the vision for years. So this fund continues to do well for us. It takes some extra time and effort in our office to do this, but if we weren't doing it, that $660,000 would be sitting in insurance companies' bank accounts and not ours. So that continues to do well for us. Any questions or comments? And next we have the latchkey report. So at the top, so this is for the month of June. So the summer program did not start until June, so there's no previous month because there was no summer program in May because we had to go to school until June 4th. So if you're looking at the month totals column for the summer program and the before and after program, there's some overlapping. Some of the same students that were in the before and after program for the first half of that week in June were also some of the same students. But we want you to see that otherwise there'd be like 8 kids, I think, listed in before and after if we didn't overlap them. So for the first couple days in June, we still had school. 58 kids participated in the before and after program. Then once, I think it was June 6th, the summer program started, and over the rest of the month of June, they had 52 kids, which almost 40 of them being regulars, so that's really good. And then you can see the month and year-to-date totals, and on a cash basis for the latchkey program, their balance went from $49,800 to almost $56,800, so almost up $7,000 for the year. So good. Doing well there. The next report is the quarterly comparison. So comparing April, May, and June from 2018 to 2019. So at the top, you have the summer program, so obviously no summer program in April. Now in 2018, our summer program started in May, and then it didn't start till June this year. So you can see those numbers, and then before and after program. And of course, last year we had no before and after program in June. So, and then you have the total revenue and expenditure.
Is that why the revenues are less this year, because of the less
Say that
days
again?
of summer program?
I didn't hear the beginning of that.
That's why the revenues are less from last year, because of the less summer program?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're anti-ribbons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the whole month of June was a summer program, we were
Right.
almost a week short
Right,
this year.
yeah, and you probably had some days in April, or May, right? Or had any in May last year? that were long?
Yes, if you look at
Okay,
the,
yeah, we did have 5.
yes, the summer they had 11 kids participated
Yeah.
within the last few days, and then,
Okay.
so. Any other questions or comments? Next would be the period vendor report for the month of June for Latchkey. So how they spent their money on anything that wasn't payroll related is on this report. And down on number 11 would be nutrition fund report. So again, don't usually have usage in June, but this year we served breakfast for 2 days and lunch for 1 day in June. So for them, we had 170 school days, but they didn't serve breakfast the last day, so we have, they didn't serve lunch the last day, so we have 169 days served for lunch and 170 for breakfast. And you can see the average day use there over the course of the year. And then the second page is the financials. And we were attempting to spend the balance down. She bought several things in June. You can see supplies and materials and capital outlay. She spent almost $9,000 in June ordering some stuff for next year. Spend the balance down. We had some information from the state that they want us to spend that balance down, and she was just discussing with Joe and I today that in light of her balance, we didn't have to increase prices this year. So there's a formula that they make you go through. In the last couple of years, we've had to increase prices by 10 cents because they don't want the free and reduced subsidies, benefiting the paying people. So we were having to increase prices by a minimum of 10 cents to keep up. Well, because of our balance, they're not, they're allowing us not to increase prices this year. So you don't see any price increases at this meeting because we're not going to increase. So we did get the balance down from the beginning of last year, but not by a lot, $11,000 maybe. So, and the nutrition fund department with their wage increases, that should help this next year as well, and we're not increasing prices. So the next upload is, again, the period vendor report for the nutrition fund for June, and it's anything that does not include payroll. So. Okay, next report is just for the month of June for the activity on the first page. So notice, no negative. Joy goes through this, and we worked with Mark and deciding on where we were going to take the money from to get rid of the negative balances that we cannot have at year end. So the balances that were negative are now zeros. And if you look at the breakdown for music, on the far right column, music, almost 70,000, athletics, 52.5 almost, and then a total of 195,000 almost for activity. Our activity fund is in really good shape, ending the year. And then the second page, you have the FFA enterprise, which Joy had to do a lot of jobbing from Peter to pay Paul in this account to get rid of the negatives for year end, and so they ended up with $641 in that account, and some of the money from the farm went to zero out FFA and the student activity fund as well. So.
If there's any good news, has 5,000 bushel
So,
left
yeah, so corn to
of
sell.
corn, and so he's trying to sit on it and look at the prices going up.
Good.
So there's money that's available.
And then flex benefits, that's the money that our employees decided to put away for medical independent care. And again, we keep that account at our local bank instead of with the insurance company, and we manage that ourselves. And then the agency fund, all the accounts that Joy does the accounting for money that we don't technically own. So that is the year-end report for June. Then the next report, upload number 14, Joy does a report for the whole year, so you see the beginning balance for each one of those accounts we just went over. Beginning balance as of July 1st, 2018, and the revenues for the year, the expenditures for the year, any fund transfers that had to be made, and then the ending balance. And all the balances should match the monthly report there. Any questions or comments on any of those? And next is a period vendor report for all of those funds, activity, FFA enterprise, and agency fund. The long period vendor reports. So you notice in the agency fund period vendor report, so if a junior, senior high student leaves or graduates and they have not had to consume their Chromebook deposit for any repairs, then the parent gets the $50 refund back, so. And that's why we keep all of those in the agency fund, because we set them aside, use them if we need them, but otherwise they're technically not our fund, they're all payable the whole time they sit there. So. Any questions or comments on that period vendor report? The next upload, number 16, is co-curricular driving for the June-July pay period. Baseball section at the top and softball. And then with our little incident with our bus, breaking down for us, and, yeah, it's bus 43, with our bus number 43 breaking down in Des Moines, we ended up going and getting it, and Ryan drove it back, but I still don't think that it's gonna be fixable, but we did get it back here. So, it's got some better tires on it than some of our other buses, so I think he's gonna switch those around, get the diesel out of it, take stuff off of it, then that we can before we try to find a place to salvage it. Next is extra payroll expenses. Top is pretty much the norm, and then the bottom, I'm pretty sure that's every teacher, I think, for Jamie, that took the summer book study with Denise Austin. And that's their payment for participating in the summer book study.
That's all teacher quality money too, it's not general fund, I mean, it's
Yeah.
TQ funds.
And I have a label there, TQ, Teacher Summer Book Study. Any questions or comments on any of the extra payroll? Then we have board bills. In spite of having board bills 2 weeks ago, we have still have lots of board bills.
Stuff came in.
So I think the first 8 or 9 pages are all general fund. And I guess until the 7th page, middle, and then we have our annual payment to White Pigeon for our various property liability, flood, earthquake, cyber liability, work comp, all that, insurance, car, bus, and then the SU insurance payment for the first quarter for our equipment breakdown that we decided to continue at our last meeting. And then for our Fund 33 1-cent sales tax projects that have been going on here already and just finishing this week. A few of the checks will hold for the job to be complete, but our next meeting isn't for 5 weeks for bills. And then Fund 34, some items for the multi-purpose room, and actually Those 22 LED lights came yesterday, and they were the wrong lights that they recommended to Joe, but they're already on a credit card. So next month, you'll see a credit for that $5,400, and then we'll have the new lights, which will be $2,000 more. And then Bush Turf is done with the turf out there apparently, and still for that. And then for Keppel, we have our school bus check that will hold till Ryan takes to pick up the bus. And then the specialty floors, which they're done with the work, but we're asking for approval for it, but we're going to hold that check too, because there's a couple blemishes on the floor that Mark is not happy with. So we're gonna hold that check till that's taken care of.
And nothing major,
Yeah.
there's just a couple things, you know, you pay that kind of money, you want it
Yeah,
done.
good.
So, lots of bills, and wait till August.
Move to approve the bills.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Stacy.
Yeah, principal's month off.
Yeah, so,
And consent agenda number 1, there's nothing on there. Again, that's just on there because that's our protocol.
mhm.
Consent agenda number 2, nothing really to add. I did look up our family night, is our Wednesday nights. Some people call it church night, but it's technically family night. 6:30 is our time as far as when we have to be out of the gym to get kids to the events on those nights. It's interesting, you know, like student phone calls, that's kind of a dinosaur, but basically, if, you know, someone calls the school, just talks about how that works, but that's usually if they text or try calling their son or daughter and they're not available.
Then they
They'll
call,
the school.
yeah.
Most of those are pretty vague on the policies. When I say vague, they're written vaguely to, you know, from curriculum development to school day, calendar, et cetera. But I have no tweaks, but I certainly am open to questions or any tweaks that you may have as recommendations. You know, we reviewed the calendar policy this spring. I wanted you to be aware of that, as far as seniors and snow days and whatnot, so everything is up to date for us.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda number 2.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Yeah, I've got a few on consent agenda number 3. Letter A is our first reading policy 203, board director's conflict of interest. There's one slight change, and this was a legislative change that board members in the past, it's just in that first paragraph, taking the cap of $2,500 to $6,000 for what board members can be paid while serving on the board if they have a business, et cetera. So, just matching the policy there, or what state law is. Letter B, second reading of deletion policy code 507.6, that's the student insurance. We don't offer that anymore, therefore we don't need a policy for that. Letter C is athletic training agreement with Rock Valley Physical Therapy. We spend $6,000 a year, and that's gives us an athletic trainer at our events. I think that's money well spent. And one of the other items here, to skip around a little bit, is our concussion policy, letter H. You know, with concussions and everything, it's sure nice having a professional on the sidelines and at the ball games that make those determinations for students with concussion and following the protocols. I know our coaches, and being a former coach, when you're involved in the game, you know, it's tough to stop and make sure your student athletes where they need to be. So those kind of go together. And the that letter H, we're required by state law to have a concussion policy. We just want to make sure that it's in board minutes somewhere that the board's approved that. So that being said, that's letter C. D and E are the milk and bread bids. Mrs. Dinkman recommends the milk bid with Anderson Erickson. You can see the bold numbers there are, the lower bid. They're both really competitive, but overall, Terry recommends Anderson Erickson. And then for letter E on the bread bids, we're in a consortium with the Earth Breads Grain Company. We have we're in a consortium with Durant, Tipton, and Bennett. And the consortium chose the Earth Grain Bread Company. So we just need to have that approved so it reflects in our minutes that the board approved that. And then on the back side, letter F is our 1920 Genesis Health System Employee Assistance Program agreement. It allows our employees to utilize some of the services they have. I know Stacy talked about the services if you have questions, but it's everything from if someone struggles with something with their health, or if it's depression, or if it's finance questions, or just anything in general, they're a good resource. They offer counseling services and I don't know, a lot of different things. Stacy, what other things have I missed that?
Well, and it happened in the past before too, where the administration has,
Oh, yeah.
requested or required an employee to go get services there. And it's all confidential. All we get is usage. It's all kept confidential. And it's also for families, for employees, spouses, and children. So we only pay a flat fee per employee every month. And we pay for it through our wellness program.
Cool.
So I think it's a good program, and I recommend that. And then letter G is our MOA with MCC for college credit courses for our high school kids. They're very specific. If you look at, just like you, I go through these and you look at it, they have actually everything in there from how they evaluate them to the teachers and whatnot. And, you see the cost breakdown, the percentages, what paid that's on, but, yeah. So I recommend we continue doing that with MCC. And with all honesty, it's not like we have a lot of room to negotiate any of those pieces. It's really just that's what community college offers. And it's up to us if we choose to do it. And then letter H, like I said, is our school concussion policy. And again, it's got the whole protocol listed out as a state form, and taking that serious with kids and participation and extracurricular for that. So that's what I have for consent agenda number 3, number 8.
Move to approve consent agenda 3.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Joe Raggets is here, and I thought we'd do a quick tour to see the gymnasium and then the new multi-purpose building. We got district softball here tonight, senior night boys baseball, and so I thought if we could hit those, and then if anyone wants to go to the game, you have time to go to the game. So, our next board meeting is Wednesday, August 14th at 5:30. Time flies around fun. It'll be here before you know it. Otherwise, I wish both of our teams best of luck in post-season play. It is, I don't know, you've heard me say this before, but I'm planning on our boys and girls being at the state tournaments. And the girls are a week before the boys. When the boys play in the state championship, that'll be Saturday, August 3rd. That just seems awful late to me. If you're a family and you've got a son or a daughter that's playing baseball or softball, you turn around and you get football the next week. It's just, to me, that's ridiculous.
Getting later and later, it seems like.
Even as a senior,
Well,
Going to
yeah, when the
college.
kids go to college, they're
I
going to
know.
college.
I know,
Some
so
of
it's just it's frustrating. I just feel for kids and their families and trying to find a little time to, you know, and it's a good problem to have. I mean, if your baseball and softball teams are not very good, you get a month off. But if you are competitive, it's just a point, that's all. So, that's all I have.
Move to adjourn.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Yay!
All right, if you want to, you can either leave your stuff in here. I'm actually, I think,